Okay, it is Monday, April 21st, 2025. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe you'd like to take a minute to go do that and hit the notification button. We talk about all things Mastiff and dog related and life. I'm a little bit nervous about doing this live because a lot of you know that over the last week, some things happened regarding this YouTube channel that deeply hurt me. And I really thought long and hard over whether or not to share my experience, you know, but I have to just clear the air and get it off my chest, win, lose, or draw. And I hope that I have the right words to say this so that everybody realizes it's coming from a place of tremendous, see, I already lost somebody. Boy, I can't catch a break. Had viewers, and then all of a sudden people are coming on and then people are leaving. Anyway, today's live is really coming from a place of immense hurt. I have worked very, very hard on this YouTube channel. There's 620 videos that I have filmed in all kinds of weather and in northern Maine. And I've tried to give you guys a glimpse of my life here and what it's like having this majestic breed in my life and how honored I feel to be able to say I'm an advocate for this breed. And so, not getting into that right now, but some things happened over the last week that if I don't get this off my chest, then I don't know, like, I just need to get this behind me. So, I try and be extremely transparent. I really want you to know who we are here and who I am as a dog breeder and an advocate for this majestic breed. And I want to show you my knowledge and my experiences in life, that if I can help one other person that has a Mastiff or has any giant breed dog, if I can help you, I will. And so I do get messages from all around the world. And I mean all around the world. The Netherlands, Scandinavia, Denmark, the United Emirates, Ireland. And I am so grateful for each and every one of my subscribers. But coming on this Lent season, I chose last week to start my video, and I did mention that I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Don't leave me just yet, please, because I want to say something. It is mind-boggling that just the name Jesus caused so many of my subscribers to unsubscribe. It's crazy. I could have mentioned Charles Manson and I wouldn't have lost subscribers. I could have mentioned anything. But the name I mentioned was Jesus, and I got so much hate mail over it. Anyway, I cried all weekend. I cried through Easter. I was so disgusted, I almost considered returning deposits and not breeding in May because I was so hurt. I could have said that I did time in prison for murder and I would have got subscribers and everybody would have stayed. I could have said anything, that I've broken every commandment. I could have said anything. But I mentioned the name of Jesus and people sent me hate mail and unsubscribed. They could have just scrolled by. They could have clicked off and said, well, next video will be about dogs and breeding and puppies. But no, they chose to send me hate mail. And I cried all through Easter. I had to put makeup on today so you didn't see the puffiness under my eyes. I cried all through Easter, which triggered back-to-back asthma attacks. And people close to me said, I'm going to give up. I'm going to cancel the YouTube channel. I'm going to get off Facebook. I'm going to not breed no more. And some of my clients messaged me and said, we know you're going through a lot right now. That was unfortunate. People could just scroll by instead of being nasty. It wasn't just that they left. They chose to say such hateful things to me over the name Jesus. So moving on from that, I want to tell you, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I want to tell you a little bit of an experience that, I grew up in Boston. I'm actually a Chelsea girl. I grew up in Chelsea back when Chelsea was the coolest place on the earth to grow up, with Revere Beach right there and East Boston and Maverick and Government Center. Look, I'm losing people. It's okay. Just bear with me. But I grew up in Boston and I hung out in the North End where we eat cannolo. Do you know that one is a cannolo? Multiple cannoli. Multiple is cannoli. People don't realize that. But anyway, I grew up in the North End, moved up here to northern Maine. Back in 93, I moved to Prince Edward Island because my mother's people were from there. In 1994, I opened up 2 Italian restaurants. One was called Anthony's Fine Italian Cuisine, and the other was called A Taste of Italy, which I bought the trademark from McCain Food. My brother is Anthony. So I did all my signage and my menus with my brother Anthony's image. In 1995, I was still training horses full time. One of my students was holding one of my stallions. I had 2 different stallions, one in one barn, one in the other. And one of my students was, right. If you know, you know. Thank you, Carol. So one of my young students was holding one of my stallions, and he backed up into a roll of like fencing wire. It wasn't anything tragic, but he backed up into a roll of something and got a cut. He got a little cut, and I just did what every other horse chick does. I went into my barn, I went into my tack room, into my office, I opened up the medicine cabinet, I went to go grab a shot of steroids and antibiotic, and I realized I had the antibiotic, but I didn't have the steroids. So I called my buddy Oliver, an older gentleman up the road. I trained horses for him. He had great big 2,500-pound Belgians that he wanted saddle trained, and so I did that for him, and we used to do sleigh rides, and I became very good friends with him and his family. And I called Oliver and I said, by any chance do you have steroids up there? I need a shot for one of my stallions. And he goes, no, actually I don't. I have to restock. He said, but there's a vet tech out in St. Nicholas. And so I said, all right, I'll call her. He said, what's her name? And he said, I'm going to tell you her name then. I'm not going to bother to tell you her name now. But anyway, he said, Kelly Richard. So I said, oh, cool. So I take the number from Oliver, and I call Kelly, and I said, hey, I'm the girl out here in Urbanville. I train horses. I said, I need a shot of steroids. Any chance? Oh, I said, I heard you're a vet tech. Any chance you have a shot of steroids out there? I know you have product from Dr. Howitt. And she said, I'm not a vet tech. I'm a large animal neurosurgeon. And yes, I do have a shot of steroids. And give me your address. I'll be en route. So Excuse me. Okay. So a little while later, this red Jimmy pulls up in my driveway, and out jumps this blonde in coveralls with her hair up in a scrunchie. And she opens up her hatch, and she's got a little thing, and she said, "Where is he?" And I said, "He's in the barn." So she walked in. I said, "Just give me it." I said, "I'll give it to him." And she goes, "No, I'll give it to him." Thank you. So she wound up giving this colt Tex. Well, I named him Buster, but his registered name was Tex. His barn name was Buster because he was a little rank when I got him. Anyway, so she gave my little stud colt a shot of the steroids and the penicillin, and she basically told me, quick, fast, and in a hurry, like I'm the vet, I have to administer the drug that I take with me. So, long story short, that was 1995. We became fast friends. We became fast friends. We literally navigated my horse training world, my dog breeding world, her farming world. She had like 450 head of cattle and steer. We did about everything that could be done in the field, and I spent a lot of time with her. And it's funny because as much medical knowledge as I have, being best friends with a large animal neurosurgeon who did her due diligence and went to school. She studied in New York and Australia. But again, we're on Prince Edward Island up in Canada at the time. We became best friends. Literally, best friends. And we have a lot of hysterical stories about, our life being best friends that did not involve animals or farm calls and all that. But what I want you to know is Kelly does not believe everything I believe. Religiously, we differ. I learned that very early on. Politically, we differ. Listen, through the years, we have been by each other's side during the birth of our children. We probably did, I don't even know how much money in deals together. I mean, she bought my last house and, some very, very, very expensive jewelry that I had. And it's okay. We disagreed on about things that I'm very passionate about. Things, that ordinarily will rock a person. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, for the people, those 4 people that unsubscribe to this channel because I said the name Jesus, that is really disturbing. It's really disturbing that you started out supporting me and loving my dogs and waiting to see puppies in the breeding process, and you love everything I do, but the name Jesus made you panic? You had to unsubscribe to my channel? Well, let me tell you, Kelly does not believe everything I believe. It doesn't mean she doesn't believe in God. I'm just not, I'm not going to say what she believes. And politically, we are bipolar opposites. And she lives in Canada. And President Trump said Canada should become the 50-something state. Yikes. Right? Now, when I left Canada in 2003 or 4, it ended my paperwork because I went in as a spouse. So even though my mother's people are from there and my great-great-grandmother was Native American to Prince Edward Island, I cannot go back until I correct the paperwork. Now, I'm being very transparent with you. Don't leave me now. Kelly and I disagree on about, man, probably 25 or 30% of the things that are core values of mine. But the other 75%, we're spot on. And I want to tell you a quick story. 2 weeks ago, I had been having back-to-back asthma attacks. I was very upset because people that I thought I was going to be friends with for many, many, many years betrayed me. And not only did they betray me by running stories back to somebody that's no longer in my life, stories and pictures of my life, when I make a conscious decision to separate and no longer have contact with somebody, like if you're watching, you were running pictures and information back to him. That's so tragic and so invasive and so wrong on so many levels. And I have spoken to that person since, and he has told me you were running information. And the girl that you said you hated, she called me immediately and said, the minute he found out who you were, he called me. So if you're listening, you ought to learn a lesson about betrayal and causing hurt. You upset my whole family. But Chris said to me, let's take a ride. Let's get out of this house for a while. Put this behind us. So we took a drive. I decided to go to Walmart to see if there was anything I may need for the upcoming breedings. I like to stock up on baby wipes and paper towels and rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. And I usually have 20 or 30 of particular items and all those things. And my mind was preoccupied with the betrayal. I'm Italian, so it's hard for me. I have no poker face, by the way. If we're playing poker, you're going to know everything I have. I don't have a poker face. If you hurt me, you'll see it. If I'm crying, you'll see it. If I'm happy, you'll see it. And when you're betrayed, you will see it. And so I was in Walmart. Chris went his way to pick up paper towels and baby wipes. I was wandering around aimlessly in the women's section. Well, when I walked in the door, a woman walked this way. Now remember, Northern Maine. Prince Edward Island is about 3.5, 4 hours from here. I haven't seen Kelly since many, many years. Kind of gave away the whole point of this story. But anyway, when I was walking in Walmart, I felt a weird pull and like a vortex, weird deja vu thing. And a woman came by me, and I told you before, there's been times my children have been in traffic and I feel a weird sort of vortex thing, and then all of a sudden I look and I see my daughter Janelle's car. Or I'm in Walmart and I feel a weird pull. And I know this sounds nuts, but if you're a mother, you know, or you're a grandmother, you're a nana, you know. And right before this, I was in Walmart and I felt this weird pull in my soul that it almost like vertigo. And I turned my head and my daughter Tony was about 3 racks away and she didn't see me. So I believe it is possible. So long story short, when I walked in Walmart, this feeling came past me. My first thought was, is something bad going to happen? They've had some incidences here at the border and stuff. And my initial thought was, is something bad going to happen? But I went through, and when I got in the clothing section, Chris and I separated, and all of a sudden I was looking at something, and I remembered a shirt that I had bought in Canada, and it said something like, your lips are moving, but all I hear is blah, blah, blah. And I looked down and there was a t-shirt that I could remember having worn when Kelly and I were hanging out all the time in Canada and doing life together, experiencing our life together. And I remember a point where we drove down to Boston and went to a few family weddings. And my sister said to me, man, you guys are so close. You guys in a relationship together? You can tell me. I'm like, no, but she's my best friend. If she needed a kidney and you needed a kidney, she would get she would get my kidney. One second, I gotta do something. So, but this was the kind of thing, even my sisters thought, like, why are these two so close? And to me, Kelly was like the most beautiful person I had ever seen, inside and out. I was admired her because she's a large animal neurosurgeon. She went to the School of Hard Knocks. She came from an important family in Canada. Not, I mean, they owned property. I'm not saying like they're multi millionaires, but they worked their butts off for everything they have. And anyway, but I'm in Walmart a few weeks ago, and I'm in the women's section, and I'm looking at this t-shirt that immediately brings me back to being on Prince Edward Island and so much fun with Kelly. And if you live there and you knew us, you would know we would light the whole club up if we showed up, and you're having fun if we're having fun. And I mean, crowds would come around us, not just because I had trained horses and showed AQHA. A lot of people knew me from my restaurants. A lot of people knew who Kelly was and had been to her family businesses and stuff. But we just had this thing where, like, we could sense what the other one was thinking. To ever say, I love this girl, this woman now, as much as you can love a woman without wanting to be, something else. And I literally, if God said to me, and I'm being honest, if God would have said to me back in the day, I'm going to take your life or I'm going to take Kelly's life, one of yous have to come home, my answer to God would have been, she's too important, Lord. Take me. I literally would have taken a bullet for her. And I got hurt in 1996. My C2 disc in my neck got broke. My ribs, my nose, and my jaw. You can tell my face is a little messed up. And she took care of me for those 4 months. And anyway, moving on. So I'm in Walmart a few weeks ago. I'm looking at a shirt that I could remember. I probably wore something like that. And I felt this weird gravitational pull. My first thought was, man, is there going to be like an active shooter? Is something bad going to happen? And then I thought, it's got to be one of my kids in here. So I started to sort of keep my head down, but scan the room to see if I could see one of my girls or my grandbabies. And all of a sudden, I looked over at the service desk, and I locked right on this person standing outside the bathrooms. And I looked, and I thought, boom! I felt this weird thing on my heart and like my soul, and I thought, wow. I instantly knew, because she's like cut from my same cloth, Kelly must have a doppelganger. But I stared at this woman and I was like, whoa. I read her face and how her hair was up in the scrunchie and how she was built. And I thought, oh my God. So when Chris walked up to me, I said, hey, Chris, doesn't that look like my best friend Kelly? And he goes, well, I never saw her in person, but that sure looks like the pictures. I'm like, wow, man, that's the closest doppelganger I ever saw. So I literally go through the register. I go out to the car, and Chris says, go say something. And I said, no, because I'm going to sound stupid. But I literally drove home feeling like something happened, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I walked in the great room, didn't even put down my purse or take my coat off, and I texted her and I said, oh my God, I just think I ran into the closest doppelganger you will ever have in Walmart in Holton. And she said, oh my God. This could never happen twice in a lifetime. It shows that best friends and soulmates, wasn't said exactly like this, but this is what the gist of it was. No matter how many miles separate you, how much time, your souls are connected. She said, Helen, that was me. We were down in the States visiting Miles' family. She said, you should have come over to me. I said, well, I really didn't want to look ridiculous walking up and going, oh my God. I didn't want to look crazy. I know everybody in Walmart. Well, anyway, she wrote me something beautiful and said, this is so crazy. I guess we shouldn't let any more time pass before we get together. And this morning, I woke up early, and there was a meme video from her, the memes, and it was a priest saying, I know that there are women everywhere that no matter how many thousands of miles separate you from your best friend, if you get together, it'll be just like it always was. It was said a little funnier than that. But it dawned on me that Kelly and I are soulmates. I was there when Kyle was born. I was there when she was pregnant and fell down her stairs bringing laundry to the laundry room. I was there. She was there when my baby was born. My baby Tony was born. She was there through every important thing that happened to me. And she has visited me here. And yet miles, no matter hundreds of miles, and space and time and months and weeks go by, and that vortex, that soulmate thing is still there. And I feel as passionately about her today as I did 35 years ago, or however long ago it was. And if somebody tried to hurt her, I would give my life to protect her. I know that. Like I would protect my own child or my grandchild. I know, no matter where she is, I love her. Maybe people don't understand it, but I love her as much as any woman can love another woman, and without being in a physical world, physical with them. But here's the thing, guys. For those of you that unsubscribed, if you're watching this now, Kelly and I disagree on a lot of very important subjects that I am deeply passionate about. And I don't mean anything to do with animals or medicine or animal neurosurgery or surgical issues. She has been there through everything. I've been there through everything with her. Our happiest times, our darkest times, the birth of our children, and me leaving Canada because my paperwork ended. And I will tell you, when my paperwork ended as a spouse, she contacted the Canadian government and said, I will put up $1 million bond if you let her stay. And Canada said, no, she's got to leave and go refile back through Buffalo as a single person because she's no longer married here. But I can tell you that Kelly tried. She did all the paperwork. It's her that did it. And yet I hadn't talked to her in months. She is on my Facebook. Our lives are so crazy busy. I believe she's a professor now, and she's teaching veterinary medicine. But here's the point. We disagree on some really core, very important things that you don't want to disagree with a best friend. And we have been best friends for 35 years. How long ago was 1994? Somebody tell me. 30 years? It's okay to disagree, guys. You're here for my dogs. You're here for how I breed. You're here for if I'm an honest breeder. You're here because I'm a breeder of merit. You're here because I'm honest and transparent and you want to see puppies and you believe in what I'm doing. Don't leave me because you don't believe in Jesus. It's ridiculous. I don't believe in Game of Thrones, but we're cool if we disagree. I don't believe in hobbits and what else? Leprechauns and all them other things, but we can agree to disagree. Don't leave me because you don't agree that I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. How messed up does this world have to be when someone can't even hear the name Jesus? Wow. So I'm going to make a decision. Am I losing subscribers as I speak? Because if you leave me over the name of Jesus, then you weren't meant to be. And the more I give to God, the more he gives me back. And if you leave me because of this video, then we are going to part ways. And it's okay to disagree. You can scroll by. You don't have to listen to every single video. And you can subscribe free. They're never going to email you. There's no cost. All I wanted to do, if and when this channel ever got monetized, was donate all the proceeds to St. Jude's Children's Hospital for cancer research. And I'm struggling with 857 subscribers. I can't even hit 1,000. Like if all of you subscribed 5 of your family members, we could have reached our goal 6 months ago. I'm asking you to take this ride with me. Help me to donate so that we can do it together to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Because you know what? People in Italy, people in Mexico, people in England, people in Germany, they go to St. Jude's. Cancer affects all of us. There is not a person on this planet that doesn't have a family member or a loved one or a child that has experienced cancer. My sister has cancer. My mother had cancer. I've had cancer. So I'm not going to get upset. But for goodness sake, we can agree to disagree. You don't have to hate me and unsubscribe. We're about to breed. And that's why you came to my channel, is you want to see all that. You don't want to miss out on puppies. We are the only breeder for the Del Fracasso bloodlines out of Tuscany with Antonio Fracassi. We're the only breeder in the United States. If you're here in this country, no other breeder can give you what we will give you. Don't leave me over this. But I will tell you, as strongly as I feel that I love Kelly with all my heart, my family knows her name, my nieces and nephews know her name. As much as I tell you, even though we don't speak, I would lay my life down for Kelly and shield her in the event of a catastrophe. If you leave me and you unsubscribe to this channel over my Jesus, who is also incidentally your Jesus, if you leave me and unsubscribe, I hope he finds you someday, and I hope you look to his face, and I hope that you realize we're all not getting out of here alive. We live with instant gratification today, and I got a big truck, and I got a big farm, and my house is beautiful, and I got a big pool, and my wife is gorgeous, my husband is handsome. We're all not getting out of here alive, and we all need each other. We can agree to disagree. With that, I'm going to close this video. Thank you for joining me. I don't know. I need a title for this video. Help me pick a title. What's it going to be? We can agree to disagree? Or, I don't know, even Charles Manson had friends? I don't know. What's the proper title for this video? And listen, I want you to know something. If you're watching and you were the 3 people that betrayed me 2 weeks ago, I've been praying for you because I know there's some good in there. And I still watch your videos because you're still an amazing musician. But you owe me an apology, and I need you to not deny it because I already talked to him, and he told me you ran messages and said, oh, Kira, you already showed him pictures you shouldn't have showed him, and you called the other one and told her, wow, I found so-and-so's ex. I want you to know we can all agree to disagree. You may not see it as a betrayal, but you know me. I'm the ride or die. And anybody that knows me and is friends with me knows. I am the ride or die friend. I'm the ride or die breeder. When my clients have ever needed me at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning because their puppy ate something they shouldn't have, I'm the one that answers my phone. And I get up on my feet, and it don't matter. I don't care what you call me about. I'm the breeder. I am still friends with every person I ever sold a puppy to. Over 35 years. And trained horses for. So what I'm telling you is we can agree to disagree. I'm still your ride or die. But If you are the people that recently betrayed me, I need you to know that knocked me. Because I trusted you and I believed in you. And I thought beyond your flaws. And I thought we had a friendship. And I forgive you. And that's as much for me as it is for you. I still believe you're wonderful people. I don't think you do this all the time. I don't think you meant to hurt me. But you did some things that were not cool. And the right thing to do is to call me and say, I am sorry. I am sorry. And for anybody that I have offended or hurt, and maybe it slid past my own thing, if I have ever done anything to offend or make someone else feel excluded or verbally hurt someone or be cold, I am human, which is not an excuse, and I am so sorry because it probably went right by my mind and I wasn't thinking. And I want to tell you something. Some of you know my co-breeder. I have a few co-owned puppies with Scott and Leona, Bryant. And I've been friends with Scott about 7 years, 8 years, and his wife. But Leona and I disagree on some things. Some thises and that's. And we have bred about 5 litters together and brought life into this world. And Leona and I are ride or die. We love each other. I would fight somebody over her, and I recently did about a year ago. I literally went to bat for them. Not that they did anything bad, but they were selling a house, and the people they sold the house to stopped paying, and then they decided to sit on the house and not make the next payment, and I went to war because they're my friends. And we're okay today. Scott and I have never parted, but Leona and I have had a few issues along the way. And do you know what Leona did for me yesterday, guys? She bought me a puppy. A puppy. It's not a Mastiff. And I will introduce him because this little 1.5-pound puppy stole my heart already with his little ice blue eyes and his beautiful fawn face and body. But she bought me a puppy, and the puppy wasn't cheap. And this is a woman that I have we have collectively disagreed on a lot. But we agree on genetics, bloodlines, care, being proactive, vaccinations, worming, behavior, training. And we have had about 6 or 7 times in 7 years where we're like, Scott's in the middle. And I'm like, tell her I said. And then she's like, I'm not speaking to her. And then I'm like, fine, I'm shutting my phone off. And then she's like, my phone's already off. We agree to disagree. She bought me a puppy yesterday that she knew I needed that I didn't know I needed. And you're going to meet him. And YouTube is going to meet him. And he has a name. I'm not going to reveal it. You will meet him on the 6th of May when he comes here. Because right now he's only this big. And I didn't even know I needed him. But she knew I needed him. And she had one for herself. And while I was crying to them yesterday, because I went and visited Gage's grave up on the hill, and I brought the stone, the grave marker that Scott and Leona bought for Gage with his picture and his birthday and the day he passed away and a beautiful thing. They had this stone made for Gage. And yesterday, because it was Easter, I went down and sat up on the hill where we're going to build. And I sat in the grass on my hands and knees and making sure the solar lights were straight and everything. And I cried my heart out because it feels like a lot over the last couple of months. And I came home, and Scott says to me, Leona, basically, not in these words, has something for you. And I was surprised, because we're okay. But, like, I'm not trying to, I'm not in a position to buy anybody anything expensive. So, believe me when I tell you, when I got a picture of she has something for your heart, she wants you to have him. She has one and she wants you to have one because that's what friends do. And she's taking care of him. She was up 4 times last night taking care of him. Because that's what friends do. And it is okay in friendship. She has other best friends. And I have other best friends. My neighbor down the road, Kim, I would consider a best friend. I wouldn't let anybody hurt her like I wouldn't let anybody hurt Kelly. Right? Like I wouldn't let anybody hurt Nikki, and Nikki wouldn't let anybody hurt me, and Kim has, been my friend. So guys, maturity means it's okay to have multiple best friends, and it is really okay to disagree. Even if it's things like to your core. Whatever don't throw people away over politics. I had 2 people in Canada. Let me just tell you, my mother's people in Canada raised a man. So my great aunt and uncle, Joe and Madeleine, raised a little boy whose name was Verno. They didn't just raise him when his parents died. Verno inherited all of the land that my grandfather, the 165 acres and 156 acres and the homestead that my grandfather, when he went back to the U.S., put in Joe and Madeleine's name. It was never supposed to go to Verno. It was always supposed to go to my grandfather's children. My mother, my Uncle Ray, my Uncle Al, my Uncle Cliffy, my Aunt Julia, and my Aunt May, and my Aunt Clara. And therefore was supposed to stay in the family. But Verno got his hands on that land and the picture of the Titanic that belonged to my grandfather. And Verno didn't have money. I don't know that he ever really worked. He joined the military, got out of the military, and he did a little carpentry work. But when Verno passed away 3 or 4 years ago, the money that bankrolled him 40 years ago, 50, 60, 70 years ago, never came from anybody in his world. It came from my grandparents. They would have never had anything. And so, but I think Phyllis always knew this, and Phyllis always kept in touch with me. She would drop in if she was here in the U.S. I'm going to end this video right now. She told her children to always stay in contact with me in the event that she died. So I did. And recently, I said something on my Facebook, and I said, there's so many drugs coming over this northern border. Like, all you got to do is Google it. All the people that Canada lets in. Yeah, I know. I left when my paperwork were no good, but they got billions and millions of people there that have no business in Canada. They have no heritage to Canada, but that's okay in my paperwork. Moving on. All I said on my Facebook was, people are dying here from the fentanyl. They should close this Canadian border until Canada realizes it has to stop letting people through this northern point. There's 3 borders, St. Francis, St. Stephen's, and the Holton-Woodstock border. And she said, I am shocked. I really hope you're safe when your president causes a 3rd world war. Hey, babe, I have never been so safe as I am right now. Safe. Why? We know how to protect ourselves here. This is Maine. Every 20-year-old, every 21-year-old is protecting themselves. Every woman in Walmart, every 20-year-old young man. Maine is not stupid. Don't tie us into how you feel about what's going on in Canada. All I said was close the border till we sort it out. My mother's people are from Canada. I love Canada. I tried to live there 10 years, okay? We're moving on. She said, I'm going to unfriend you. This is a grown-ass woman. That's the daughter of people that a man that my family raised. And by the way, your father would have never had nothing if it wasn't for my grandfather, who handed it to Joe and Madeleine, who your father talked into signing over the whole life works of my family. So remember that when you're unfriending people. And by the way, the picture of the Titanic in the cottage down at the beach, that's my grandfather's. Anyway, moving on. I'm not being mean. I forgive you. We're good. Trust me, I forgive you. You unfriended me after a lifetime of family connection. But the point is, we can agree to disagree. I'm not mad at you for being mad. I said close this border. But while you're down here in New York and Florida and on our beaches and going to all the big stores in Maine, how are you going to come over this border when you hate the American flag so much? I'm going to lose some subscribers. How are you going to come here when you hate our government and you hate our president? Listen, we're all not getting out of here alive. We're all human. We all bleed the same. Our skeletons look identical. I don't care what religion or race you are. We can agree to disagree. This is what's wrong with the world. Let's agree to disagree. You should have never unfriended me. And I know you're still on the YouTube channel, but you should have never destroyed a lifetime of family connection. And I have a lot of class that I never said to you. Every bit of the money that has fueled everything you people did came from my grandfather. I didn't say that. Be good, bless you, enjoy it. If you need it, enjoy it. You never done nothing for me, you people. But anyway, you hate our government, you hate our flag, you hate our president, you hate everything. Why are you going to come here? Stay there until whatever. So she unfriended me. Anyway, moving on. Can't we just agree to disagree for goodness sake? That's all. Help me find a title for this video. And I'm not deleting this because this really came from my heart. If you hurt someone, even if you didn't mean it, take a minute to say, I can see why you felt that way. I am sorry. I'm the most forgiving person on the planet. I always forgive, even if it's more for me than you. Just say you're sorry so we can all move forward. I still believe good in everyone. And I'm sorry for everything I've said. You know, we're not the same as we were 10 years ago or 10 months ago or a year ago. I'm sure that every person I know would change what they said at a particular moment in time to somebody that there's so much emotion because you're so much alike and you have similar goals. And sometimes we say things in the heat of the moment or when you're caught off guard. My goodness, I am the queen of please don't catch me off guard. Because I say things out of context or sometimes wrong. And I go back and I go, oh, I did say that. I'm so sorry. I am open. If I have ever hurt you in any way and you are watching this, I don't want to lose anybody. I've already lost people. Not Kelly, thank God. But I've lost people. I am mourning people that are still alive. And it is so hard to mourn people that drive past you. That's all. I'm mourning the living, not the dead. I know the dead is where they belong, in heaven. I'm mourning the living. So, this is me, raw and unfiltered. If you like this content, I promise no more heavy stuff. Next video is going to be on the dogs and breeding and progesterone testing and pregnancy testing and ultrasounding and whelping. And you don't want to miss that because the best is yet to come. Lily is the granddaughter of Franca del Fracasso, who won everything in Europe, including Spain and Budapest, and we are breeding her to Patton. Rain, Bella Vista's sweet New England Rain, is about to be bred to Patton del Fracasso. Did I mention he's the son of Cosimo the 3rd-time European world champion. The United States has never seen pups like we are about to bring into this world. Bella Vista's Gotta Have Faith will be bred to Bella Vista, Bossman Bruno's prodigy. If you're interested in fawns, that's your litter. We're going to try Kiana again, even though she's going to play den mother to my new puppy soon. So listen, we can agree to disagree. Don't leave people you really love or that you really had a good connection with, whatever it was about, music or pets or life or same life experiences or past abuse. If you love somebody and you know you love them and you have so many, 75% of good with them, why not just acknowledge the pain you caused and say, I'm sorry? On that, I'm going to close this video. I am sorry. How about that? I'm sorry. If I hurt you, tell me what I did so I can acknowledge it and take the time to slowly acknowledge it, to digest it and process it, and to validate your feelings of why you're mad at me. Whatever it is, I'm open to hear it. That's it. With that, I'm going to close this video. I'm going to walk, clear my head, get some oxygen in my lungs. Message me, like and subscribe if you would, so we can help St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And call me if you want to talk to me. I'm right here, 207-694-1200. Thank you.